3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Forest podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. This is season 2, episode 10, and today we will be talking about the Nightsisters. But before we get to that fantastic topic, we want to thank everybody out there that listens to us, that follows us, that has given us so much support. We made it over 100 subscribers on YouTube, and we're super excited. So especially all those wonderful people who have invited us to be on their podcasts, all those that have come to ours, that have said wonderful things about us and show support, that are part of the Star Wars community that wants to love Star Wars and not hate on it, and try to talk about representation and everything that makes Star Wars fantastic. So thank you so much to everybody.
Gracias.
Thank you so much. It's been, it was crazy to think that we were around 80 subs and we only started less than a year ago, and to just reach this milestone, obviously with the help and support of all of our friends, was a big deal. We got there quicker than we ever expected, especially when we did our little begging tweet on the Twitterverse, as it's been known to do. We didn't think we would get as much traction as we did. So, thanks to Alberto from Radio Rebellion, Brian and Pink Milk, Alden, like all the beautiful people that like shared it and helped us get there. So here's to 100 more and way more fun content for everybody.
Salud.
Claro.
Today it's Monday today, so I'm just with my vanilla cokes.
Well, anyway, before we get into the main subject, we know that there were huge news for Star Wars today. We got the casting of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh,
it was like unexpected. Didn't as Mondays go, it was turning out to be like a pretty boring one, and all of a sudden we get these massive news, which I'm sure everyone is aware of right now. The biggest surprise was that Ewan McGregor's coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Who knew? That was the big surprise for me.
Funny, haha.
All kidding aside. So we already knew that it was Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen were coming back. We'll talk a little bit about what we think Hayden Christensen's role will be, because some people are saying it's only going to be Darth Vader, but obviously there's some thoughts about that. But we had a couple of interesting actors here that were announced: Moses Ingram, Kumail Nanjiani, Indira Varma, Rupert Friend, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sung Kang, Simone Kessel, and Benny Safdie among them. But two that were a surprise, non-surprise, because I think a lot of us were expecting / hoping that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru would be making their triumphant return to Tatooine so they can fight and yell at Obi-Wan to stop trying to train Luke. And we're happy to say that it's been confirmed that they're coming back.
Yep.
Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Pease are coming back to reprise the roles of Uncle Owen and Beru from Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So those are super welcome news. There's still some people that they haven't announced, obviously, and those two people I am absolutely sure will be Liam Neeson and Jimmy Smits, because there is absolutely no way that you can have an Obi-Wan Kenobi show where he's meditating in the desert and not pull the trigger on Yoda's words and Revenge of the Sith, that he has training from his old master waiting for him. So I don't know if they'll announce it or that's just going to be like a surprise within the show, but it's
a surprise. It's going to come.
Needs to happen.
I doubt they're going to
when
announce
you
it.
Expected, boom, Liam Neeson,
the best Jedi in the history of Jedi.
Best.
I know.
Your focus determines your reality. There you go. That's all you need to know.
All you need to know.
And I really go they good full in on that, on the meditation, on everything awesome and weird that happened in that arc from Clone Wars with Yoda in it. That's what they need to do. They really need to explore that side of the Force, and with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor, who's so fantastic in that role. And if you bring back Liam Neeson and you have that combination right there,
Jesus,
I can't wait.
I mean, it sets the stage for something that's super interesting that Mo was mentioning before we started recording, which was like having like these scenes of not Anakin and Obi-Wan like in the same physical space, but like confronting each other in through the Force. So maybe that's something that's open and possible through Qui-Gon. Like, as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are meditating, like that's a force power, so to speak, that's unlocked. And the force Skyping, like Rey and and Kylo were doing back in back in
like
not in back in the day, but in
teleportation.
the future are happening with the bromance of Anakin and, in this case, Vader and Obi-Wan.
That'll be really, or we can see like a scene where you have Ghost Anakin, Ghost Qui-Gon, and Ghost Anakin. They're all like talking
Right?
shit about the old master. Just
Yeah.
like
That would be good, because we've never seen Hayden's Anakin interact with Qui-Gon Jinn. So that would be like a cool little Easter, well, not Easter,
That would-
a cool little like thing of like seeing them interact, and the master that Anakin should have had.
and the circle we complete.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner.
And minimum, even if we don't get like a force ghosted version of Anakin, there's gonna be flashbacks. You don't bring back Hayden Christensen just to be under the mask. You just don't. That wouldn't make any sense. There has to be some actual Anakin, and give him the armor for Clone Wars, and I'm done. And I'm done.
Do you think it's gonna be like flashbacks or like the Force?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be.
I think there might be a combination of both. I think there might be flashbacks and there might be some Force interactions. We're gonna wait and see, but either way, we're gonna see his face. Like I think.
No, I was just gonna say, like, with the problem with the flashbacks per se is that I'm a little wary about them, because we've already, obviously I doubt that everything that happened in the Clone Wars we saw in the show, but that show pretty much covered most of the big plot points of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. So I would be wary of them either remaking any of the stuff from Clone Wars just into live action, or kind of shoehorning something that kind of throws a monkey wrench into the continuity of that show. So I think, not saying that it won't be able to be done well, I'm just saying it needs to be very specific on how they'll do it, and be not for the fans' sake, because again, going into fan service, if it's done right, it works, but just to do it just for the sake of it, it's never the right answer. But who doesn't want to see Hayden Christensen put on the fucking badass general armor from that show? We all got a little taste of it on Battlefront 2, because in the video game they did like the model of Hayden's, the actual Hayden body with that armor. So it's kind of, so when I was playing that game, I'm like, okay, well, I got it. I got to see live action Hayden wear the armor, but like to actually go photoreal into actual person wearing it. Whew, my body is ready.
I'm right.
But we'll have to wait a little bit more, because they start filming in April. So I think it's 2022 when it's coming out. Yeah. Special event series.
Very exciting.
That's good news down the road for
that is good news. Very good news. So on the subject of the Clone Wars, to all of us that follow us, I had not watched the Clone Wars at all before this podcast began, to the eternal annoyment of my fellow podcasters, my brother and my husbando, who are all huge fans. So now that we have finished, we've decided to do some episodes on some of our favorite Clone Wars arcs. We've already covered Mortis arc, and then that fantastic Yoda Enlightenment arc. And we always wanted to do the Nightsisters as well. We actually began this conversation a little bit with Brian from Pink Milk, so check out that episode. And they have actually released their own take on the arc, so don't forget to check that out.
Very annoying. We were thinking about it, and then they go and do it, throwing a monkey wrench into our plans. Very rude. Very rude.
We love you, Pink Milk. But yeah, we love the Nightsisters, and I think we're going to focus on season 3, episodes 12 to 14, and then they have the Massacre episode, season 4, episode 19. So it's good stuff. I mean, Mother Talzin shows up in a lot more episodes, obviously, and so does Asajj Ventress, but this is the arc of the actual Nightsisters. So one of the things we found out when we were talking to Brian is that Mo has really personal relationship to Asajj Ventress, and I would like you to share it with us. Why do you love this character so much?
I think it's first off, the Nightsisters are completely badass.
Oh yes, yeah, agreed.
Not only in the show, but to those that play like the phone Star Wars, the Galaxy of Heroes. If you have like a Nightsister art like combo, you're pretty much unbeatable. Right?
Oh really? I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Because you get to not only use like Asajj using her Jedi like powers, you also get all the magic, and you get Daka using like the voodoo resurrection thing. So
no, that is really unfair.
yeah, totally. Like the moment somebody dies, they can resurrect automatically, like
because of Daka's magic. Yeah. That is crazy. The power of the witchcraft sisterhood. There we go.
Which I think it's part. I think they're manipulating the Force.
I'm gonna write that one down.
It's not a separate thing. There's still it's just another facet of like manipulating the living Force, and
right.
They clearly have this. This is what I like about it. Like you're breaking past the idea that only Jedi and Sith can know about the Force or know how to deal with it, and then you all of a sudden have this whole planet whose all basis of identity is based on how to use and manipulate the Force through what they call witchcraft, which is like very. I think it's a choice of words. It brings to mind the witchcraft that we know in our current like world, where it's a coven, like it's all about the breaking away from the patriarchal establishment. It's empowerment, and you clearly see that through the whole episode. So what I loved about it, it's the character who's, along with Ahsoka, it's like always trying to find their own identity. Like other characters either take, for example, Anakin, their identity is handed down to them. They're the chosen one. They have to live to that identity. Somebody else, they're called Jedis. They fall into their own roles. And then you see Asajj is like, looking for her role. What is the role in this vast galaxy? Like, it's a character that's gone through trauma in so many ways. Not only was taken away as a child, I think they were taken away as a slave. I don't think they were taken away as like the first, like the younglings, like were teaching you, like they were taken away as a slave. Then they grow. It's like the idea of attachment. You see Asajj growing attachment to their master, their role of like they're always looking for where, who has my back. Like nobody really loves me. That's the idea behind it. Like time after time, Asajj just either by death of their master or by betrayal. They keep getting putting down. So what's the last resort? It's going back to your roots, your home, and then just breaking away like that hatred, that vengeance, and like how it transforms into that identity. Like it's like a beautiful tapestry, honestly. Like you see that idea of like identity is it's not a black and white thing. It's not only what we believe or somebody else believes, but it's a combination that transcends the nature of like, why am I returning? Do I understand the components of my identity? Because at first, Asajj went back, but it was like, well, how am I still a Sith? Am I gonna completely join the Nightsisters?
Yeah.
And Mother Taliesin is all about just trust in yourself, trust that journey. At the same time, you start trusting your coven, you start trusting your sisterhood, you start trusting But the whole idea, and it relates back to like the idea of like the witchcraft of like define yourself, find your own identity apart from whatever society around you might be putting. And I think that's the power in the character. You see that transformation. You also see that in Ahsoka, but I'm always inclined to the dark side characters.
Yeah.
Like it's like they give spice to everything. It's like what defines the actual unfolding of the heroes. And here you have somebody that can be labeled as an anti-hero or a villain, but it's solely based on the circumstances, and that's what you see at the end. It's Mother tossing, so like you're not bound by anything anymore. Like your life, you've been through shit. That's true, but that gave you strength. Once you accepted that and grew past that, you've been abandoned, but now you're not being abandoned by spite or by death of somebody. Now it's like you're being abandoned. It's your role to start whatever you do next. So it's like that being born again. You see like the transition, the baptism scene in the massacre where it's like you see Asajj accepting who they are after going through the full process, after also trying to rely on Savage Press, like, oh, maybe I need somebody else to protect, to like hold on to. And it's like going back to the root, like, I don't need any of that. I need to let go of the past and then build from what I got. And I think that's a beautiful story that, at least on a personal level, it resonated in many ways, because it's like, how do you break from past identities, past ideals of who you thought you had to be, or who you thought you had to be identified as because of what others put on you, and vice versa. What grows from you, just looking at the other. But then there's that idea of like, wait, stop looking at what others might think. Stop looking at what you think others might think, and just take a look at what you think about yourself, who you are. How do you accept everything that's been through? I mean, we all get dealt different cards in life. That's, some of us are more blessed, some of us are worse off. It really depends. But then how you deal with that and not fall into the hatred, which is like what we see at the beginning, which is like Asajj, like falling into the hatred, why, and then keep falling, and then get away from that and be born anew. It's that whole transcending. It's even the whole Asajj went through their own like heroine journey in all senses, because it's all about internal. It's all about, am I good enough to be with myself? Like, am I worthy of being in love with myself? That's the question you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, because it doesn't matter if somebody else loves you or somebody else doesn't love you. At the end of the day, it's, are you okay with that relationship with yourself? I think that's what we see with Asajj at the end. Like, it's heartbreaking. She loses everything.
I know.
But it's not the same as when she was little and she lost everything. Like, it's almost a tragic event. She starts losing everything and ends up losing everything.
Yeah.
But which one is a blessing and which one is just the detriment of life? And that was the ending. It's like that blessing, like, from now on, you choose your own path.
Yeah. That I do love the whole, you have to choose your own path now. And I do really love what you said about Mother Talzin, that it's just like that immediate embrace when she comes back. She never actually pushes her to rejoin the Nightsisters at any point. She always leaves the choice up to Asajj. And even though she is completely driven by vengeance at no time do they judge her for it either. It's like, this is what you need, then we are going to help you
We're here for you.
achieve what you need for yourself. And it was this just amazing, I don't know, it was just beautiful. It was just like, you compare it to how the Jedi treat their own people, and there's so much judgment, and there's so much it's exactly, I mean, what drove Anakin away was this, they never fully trusted him. And then you see this arc with the Nightsisters of somebody that was taken as a child, and as soon as Mother Talzin sees her, it's like, she's one of ours, welcome her, she's one of your sisters, no judgment of what happened in between, and just embrace back into the fold, and whatever you need, we're going to help you with.
And not only like Mother Talzin, everybody by the end.
Everybody. Yeah, I know the other sisters.
How, I love how everybody, like they've got named, like the sisters even was like they each had a name, they each had like their own like they each had their own individuality, which is like opposing to the Jedi, which is like, oh, you always have to be this way, or the Sith, there can only be two.
It's always the same.
So it's like you still see that individuality, that which it's almost, and this like might be like looking a little bit more into like Rebels, but it's something, I mean, not Rebels, like, oh yeah, but when you see like the clone troopers like changing their helmets, and it's all about like, how do you like, even though you're one of a group, how do you express your own individuality and be accepted by it, which is what we saw. Like, it's completely different.
That's in Clone Wars too. They start giving each other names, and painting their helmets and everything. So and by the way, the outfits of the Nightsisters are fantastic. I love them. They look so incredibly cool. That whole all red, and their magic is green, and the planet is also red, and it's visually incredibly and it's incredibly visually stunning. And then Mother Talzin's robe, which is always moving, like you feel like she's always in touch with the Force.
Kind of like Dracula's, like a Bela Lugosi type.
Well, it's kind of like an echo.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like an echo, and you can kind of hear like there's both genders, like she's completely in tune with both, all of her, and it just comes out in her voice. It's so incredibly well done, I thought.
Oh yeah, and I think you can't run away from this episode without talking about genders, because like you had a planet that was specifically, males live on like this like brute kind of like
and considered the barbarians and like lesser than, and all of that, and kind of like exiled from the main society.
But then I was like confused, because somebody then said like, oh, they come from another planet, they just bring them there. I got a bit confused, like something Obi-Wan said.
Because he got confused when they mentioned Darth Maul, because he thought Darth Maul's planet was a different one. And this is how I understood the explanation of that. They are the same clan. These are the males of the species, are the Darth Mauls with the horns on the heads, and then the Nightsisters are the females. Females are the dominant ones, obviously, but I think that they keep the best ones as like studs on Dathomir, and then send the extra somewhere else. And so people assume that maybe the males are from some other planet, but the actual birth planet is Dathomir. And I think even Obi-Wan makes a comment as well. He's like, because Mother Talzin says, oh, we don't have anything to do with the men, blah, blah. He's like, we know that the dominants here are the females. I'm 100% certain that nothing happens on this planet without you knowing. So.
And you can see like a hint of like Obi-Wan being like pissed about that.
Because it changes the world order. Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is like so different from like in all the galaxies, really. There's like, like
this is the only planet where women are considered to be. Yeah, that's a little strange. That
I was like, but then that's interesting, because it was only through using Mother Talzin's like the magic, and then they like made Savage into like the beast that he is. So I wonder if that gives them access also to like the Force. Do they have to be initiated?
Well, they kind of insinuate that they're strong in the Force to begin with, because Darth Maul was also strong in the Force, and I don't know if he was actually influenced by the Nightsisters at all before he became an apprentice to Darth Sidious, but it seems that they are strong in it. I mean, Asajj as well, who was taken as a child, was strong with the Force. They seem to all be strong with the Force, but like you were saying before, they use it as witchcraft differently, and the males, because they are from the same clan, are probably strong with it, but they're probably not taught the secrets of the craft. They're kind of kept separate and used for, you know, whenever the females want to use them, basically.
Yeah. Like, I think Savage, what a Star Wars name. You can tell George Lucas came up with it.
Oh my God.
I wonder if he's a bad guy. Whatever could it mean? Like Darth Tyrannus, is he a bad guy? I don't know. Anyway, but I think Savage, I think he was enhanced through artificial means to serve a purpose. I don't think they that happened with Darth Maul necessarily, or with any other of the male Sabraks or Dathomirians or whatever you want to call them. I think Savage was specifically enhanced just because Mother Talzin was trying to help. Oh my God.
Asajj.
I just blanked out. Asajj specifically in her mission. So she's like, okay, we need to like sprinkle this guy a little bit, so he's like a little extra something, so that one, Count Dooku will accept him as an apprentice, and then two, he's strong enough to take him down. So I think that's why he was specifically, you know, influenced through their magic to be that way. But I do agree, and I think they all have some connection to the Force, because I think the planet itself is, you know, strong with it.
Sensitive.
Yeah. And I actually do really enjoy that whole, I mean, the witches make Savage more powerful, but weaker at the same time, because they make him more powerful physically, but made them enthralled to them. So what is more important, the actual physical power or the loss of his will? You know, which I thought was a really cool dichotomy of, oh, we're making you more powerful, but we're actually making you weaker because you belong to us.
There's always a catch. Always a catch.
I mean, that's the law of like witchcraft. You have to give something and get something.
Which we were watching. Nani was texting me the other day. She finally watched The Craft Legacy, which I actually find like somewhat appropriate for this conversation, because, you know, it's a whole coven thing and witches and whatnot. But tying it a little bit into that, was kind of like my perspective on like watching the arc, especially like watching it now versus when I saw it the first time. Because, you know, the first time it's like, oh, this is awesome, you know, badass ladies being badass. And now with, you know, hindsight and context, I'm like, well, why is the first matriarchal society that we see in depth, why do we have to just paint them with the white brush and say that, you know, they're evil? That was kind of the only thing that kind of rubbed me, not the wrong way, because I think obviously women can be evil. My issue was more like, oh, well, all of these women are evil because they're all dark side. Instead of like giving at least a little bit more nuance, it's like, well, just because it's the dark side doesn't necessarily have to be evil because X, Y, and Z. I don't know. There's a million ways to spin it. But that's why I don't know if you guys have been able to play the last Star Wars game that came out, the Fallen Order one.
No, I haven't.
Well, spoiler alert. There's a scene where they go on a scene, like a whole sequence that's in Dathomir. Exactly.
Really?
There's a whole arc that's in Dathomir. It's terrifying. I
really want to play.
The minute
it's amazing.
It's really good.
It's really good.
The minute I landed, because you have to travel in your ship, right? From planet to planet. The minute I landed on Dathomir, I was like, this fucking shit's fucking terrifying. And it's like, I was like, this is a scared, like if you think that the whole design of the planet in Clone Wars was creepy, they like took it to 11 on the video game, because it's like, and the monsters and everything, Jesus Christ.
So it was
Anyway,
like I suddenly walked into Resident Evil with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
like
Yes.
I remember like the moment like Dathomir unlocked when they tell you like don't go there just yet.
Don't go. You're gonna get
Like,
your ass kicked.
do the other, and I was like, you know what? I'm going
love
there.
that.
I'm going there just right now.
Mistakes. Yeah.
That was a mistake. Like the moment I step out, I'm like, nope.
Dead.
Exactly. But the point is that it's not only that the planet is awesome in of itself, and you get to see like all the dead Nightsisters come out of like pods and everything like in the show,
Which was
awesome.
already terrifying in the show. Yeah.
Exactly. And you obviously also get to see like all the Sabrak men hunt you down and shit. But there's one character, one of the main characters of the crew, you know, because it's Star Wars, so there's always have to be a crew.
Of course.
And she's one of the last, if not the last, Night Sister that's left. Because you know at this point we thought that all of them were dead because of the you know events
Massacre.
of General Grievous's massacre. But I think her character was like really compelling for me because it kind of gave me what I wanted a bit from the Night Sisters as a whole, which is like, okay, we're this matriarchal clan, but we're not evil. We're just, you know, we just do things kind of our way, which could
this
be
is how we live
this way, but we still want to do good. And I think her name was Marin. Is Marin. Hopefully, we see more of her story in the future, either like in a sequel to the game or some other media. But I felt really compelled by her character because she starts out as like a traditional Night Sister, but then as the story progresses and you get to know her and she gets to know you, you figure out like what happened with her because obviously she's aware of the purge, right, that happened to her sisters and she thinks the Jedi did it because, you know, Grievous was wielding lightsabers. So that's why she doesn't want to help you. But then, you know, she learns the truth. She's like, oh, well, maybe Jedi, not all Jedi suck, even though apparently the Jedi Order does suck and they deserve to die. You hear us, Rise of Skywalker? You should have ended them. Anyway, but then she actually joins the crew and helps them in their fight to, you know, against the Empire. And without going into more spoilers, I think that's kind of a good way to cap her character arc a little bit in that video game, which for me kind of helped advance what I liked and didn't like about the Night Sisters, because I think that extra level of complexity is always better for anything and anyone. It's just being all good or being all evil is always boring. So adding that extra layer, like, added the ingredient that I needed for like Night Sisters to be completely great for me. Not that I didn't like them before, but you know, the whole this is the first women that we were gonna introduce and then they're evil thing was kind of like okay.
Yeah, and then they kind of skirt over a little bit about the fact that they had been like exiled and then don't touch on like why exactly they were exiled or
like the Amazons.
Or considered apart from. I feel like they could have explored that way more. I think a lot of people are fans of the Night Sisters too, so there's opportunities for that to happen, maybe, hopefully. But I kind of wanted to.
What wasn't there like a rumor that maybe the Acolyte, it's like
might have some Night Sisters?
I hope so. I mean, they're very alive and wait, no, they're my timelines. Yeah, they are alive.
Yeah, the Acolyte is High Republic, so yeah, they would be alive.
So they are very active, at least, well, if not active, thriving at the time. So it's possible. I'd be down for that. Some live action.
I mean, maybe we'll see why they were exiled.
Like, fell from grace or whatever it is that happened with them. But actually, going back to Asajj and we get her, you know, origin story in that first episode of the arc. Because I just want to say, I mean, you meet Asajj in the very first episode, I think, of Clone Wars. With that episode with Yoda.
And it's interesting. Yeah, it's a full circle because they are after like that King Targaryen or
Kardashian. What? Sorry, that was a bad joke. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I saw it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this.
Wow.
So they took King Kardashian.
King Kardashian. I like that.
I think that was the first episode. They were trying to capture the king.
And
then on this arc, Savage actually just kills the king like it's nothing. Poor thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Toydarian, yeah, the Watto king.
Yeah. That's how it starts. And I remember seeing her for the first time. I was like, who is this person? She's such a badass. And then you get clips of her throughout. Obviously, she's Count Dooku's apprentice, but now we get her actual origin story, and you see how Mo was saying before that she was taken as a child. And then her first master dies, and then you see that a Jedi takes her in. Why do you think the Jedi continued to train her, never took her to the Jedi Council?
I think that's. I mean, I don't know if there's like if my nerddom hasn't filled the gaps of that context of that story, but that is something that I was somewhat confused about, because I'm not sure if that Jedi Master took her under his wing, kind of Qui-Gon Jinn style, rogue. It's like, I'm just gonna train this person without the approval of the council, or if like he was approved to train her, and somehow we don't know. So I'm not familiar. I don't know, Mo, if you know more beyond my lack of knowing.
I don't know. I just assumed that they were gonna say, like, it seems like Asajj was kind of like the same age Anakin was, and that was like a thing. Like they're too old.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe he was like,
or maybe it was something about her race as well. Maybe because she was a Nightsister and they had been shunned or something, he thought that he couldn't present her to the council or something, and he trained her in secret.
Yeah, I mean, it could be all that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought that was really interesting when you see
apparently,
that.
Apparently, so yeah, she went from a slaver to a Jedi to a Sith.
Right. Well, because then because then it actually seems like she admired, loved, whatever, the Jedi Master, because she was super pissed when he got killed, and that's when her like vengeance arc starts, because it looks like she killed her first person after her master was killed, becomes consumed by revenge. Dooku finds her at some point, I'm assuming, and then sees the hate, everything, decides to train her, and then now she puts her trust in another man that's going to fail her. This one's going to voluntarily betray her. The other one died. This one voluntarily betrays her, and he betrays her very easily. Like as soon as Darth Sidious says your apprentice is becoming too strong, death. And then like an episode later when he meets Savage, what, now it's a man and you think he's more powerful? Because as soon as he meets him, he's like, oh, we are going to become more powerful than Darth Sidious. We can take him together. It's like, oh, okay. You're contemplating the attack with Savage, but not with Asajj?
I think it was different. I think it's because because I can't believe I'm defending a villain. But I think I don't think Count Dooku had any sexist motivations here. I think that Palpatine was aware that Asajj was his assassin.
Okay, so once he's already aware of her, but Savage would have been a surprise.
Exactly. No, because as long as she was just an assassin, I think it was fine, and he would have still kept training her and plotted to overthrow Palpy at some point. But the minute Palpy found out that she is actually a Sith apprentice, then he's like, "You gotta get rid of that shit." And obviously, Sith power. She's like, "Oh fuck, so I don't get rid of her, he'll get rid of me. So let's fucking do this thing." And then with Savage, she's like, "Okay, now you're the assassin, but we're gonna keep the fact that you're a Sith apprentice secret, and then we're gonna kill this motherfucker." So I think that's what was going on. I don't think it was ulterior.
Okay.
I just think he's just an ass, and you would have done the exact same thing to Savage had the place has been switched out. But that's just I mean, I've never met Count Dooku, so I don't really know. This is just my theory on it.
Well, and he does get killed by Anakin, so
decapitated, the same way that like he thought he was karma's a bitch. Let's just put it that way.
It's like like the one that order you. It's like it's the one that's gonna flip all on you like a split second.
It's like Count Dooku was looking for his apprentice to kill Palpy, but Palpy's like, "I beat you to the punch, motherfucker. I got my new apprentice that's gonna kill you."
It could only be two.
Always until now it gets complicated, I guess, in the sequel trilogy because Snoke is. I'm not gonna get into it.
Don't fry my brain. Thanks.
Ugh.
Wow.
It happens. It happens.
I know it happens.
I mean, Vader also had a few clones, so
especially in the Force Unleashed with Starkiller.
Force Unleashed was great,
Jedi.
by the way. That was great. Force Unleashed was great. But anyway, which is such a good contrast to have, the Sith trying to betray each other at every second that happens during this arc as well. Mm-hmm. And then you show the Nightsisters trying to lift each other up the whole time. Yeah. And you have these both ways of dealing with, it's supposed to be the dark side, and it's so completely different. And that's why it's really sad that the Nightsisters cannot prevail, because you see these both sides of how people can deal with the dark side. And I really don't think the Nightsisters deserve to be massacred.
No, especially.
I mean, rarely does anybody deserve to be massacred.
True. Well, I mean, Nazis deserve to be massacred. I mean, let's be honest.
I'm just saying.
It's a false equivalency here. But not the Nightsisters. They were nice, They just wanted to have it. They weren't bothering anybody. It's like, maybe pushing over a couple of the men sometimes, but that's fine. Grievous
which is like
ballistic.
Which is like goes back. It's a little bit like insulting. Like what this was saying. Like let's take away the only. I mean, you can argue that Satine, or what was it, Queen of the Mandalore, that you had, but it's not the same. There's like specifically a society,
matriarchal society.
Yeah, you didn't kill all the Mandalorian women. You killed Satine, but the society is still
there. Kept leaving,
but the Nightsisters, like, you're a female society. It was fine
for 3 episodes. You got power, which could be like a common in our society. Every time there's been females with power, as a society, we just chop their legs off. It's like it's unfortunate, but it is what's always been happening to all minorities as well.
The fear of somebody that you consider to be below you proving themselves to be equal or above,
or actually the opposite, someone that you think can actually be better than you, and because it's different, you have to put it down.
Yeah,
it's not even enslave them or like keep them oppressed. It's just like eliminating them.
Which is like, I mean, then again, humans have eliminated anything that has remotely been a competition. Like we were excellent at exterminating, what is it, like 7 other like humanoid races before we came into like
it fucked up.
You know what? I've got more faith on the Dathomir. Would it be Dathomirians? Or
Dathomirian? I don't know. I would check Wikipedia, but after everything that's been going on, I'm not gonna go there.
Although they do call themselves Nightsisters, so.
But I think Nightsister is.
It's like Jedi. It's like a Jedi.
Exactly. I think it's a
label.
Yeah, it's a label. It's not a race.
It's not a race. True.
Like Mandalorian is a people's and not it's a creed and not a race. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Throwing some gems today. Yeah. Some gems.
It is Monday, It's, gotta get the gray matter flowing somehow.
Anyway, go Mo.
No, I was just gonna say like I think it's also like I remember binge watching Clone Wars and like this type of arcs where it takes you away from oh it's
Yeah.
like I think it's like as a storytelling device it's like refreshing like it gets you like yeah you're watching a show about the Clone Wars but let's face it like what's going on in other parts of the galaxy what's like it was I think it's interesting to see like an arc that's like kind of devoid from Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka story. I mean,
yeah, and even when they show up in like one episode, they're like side characters. Like Obi-Wan and Anakin show up in one, they're kind of like, you know, on the side. So
I mean, it's the whole Mandalorian season 2 thing that we've discussed ad nauseum right now. It's just like when you sometimes tie something too closely to what you know, it's not as special as when you explore something that's new.
Yep.
But I'm glad they did that because like if you've had like Anakin and Obi-Wan, you will have to track it from the actual like like the story and even like there's a lot of world building in this like small arc. Like, you get to like see a whole new culture. You get to see how like not only like from how they're set up as a society, but like even like the rituals. Like there's a lot of world building and mythology that's going on behind all this.
Yeah.
And then I love like how they just mix all the magics together. It's like, yeah, necromancy, voodoo.
Yeah.
Seeing through like the Palantir, seeing glasses, everything. Like they got every type of magic pinned down.
Well, and then you have that one scene where Mother Taliesin like comes out of Count Dooku like alien style, just like incredibly terrifying. Just that scene is just. Could you imagine waking up to that?
No,
honestly, that's not how I want to see a woman come out of me at all. I was like,
but it felt like one of those like whoever like those that have experienced like sleep paralysis. That's kind of like it feels. Like this being or weird like on top of you and you can't move. And
you can't move and can't react or do anything. That is just one of the.
You're shouting like at the top of your lungs and nobody hears it. Like it's scary. Like
it's scary. They are terrifying. That's why I'm so sad they got massacred.
But that's why I liked Jedi Fallen Orders because they hint that no, we didn't kill all of them. There's still a chance.
There's still some of them there.
Come back, which I really hope they do because it's an amazing society. It's like to most point, if Obi-Wan or Anakin had been more central to the story, they would have just pushed Asajj to the side. And she would have just been some generic villain that Obi-Wan and Anakin just need to hunt down. And by having them be the side character, she can be their Thanos. You can like develop her as a person instead of as a object, right? That the heroes have to fight against.
I don't know. I think there was something very interesting a lot of the times when Asajj was fighting Obi-Wan. There was some tension there sometimes when they were fighting.
Like some sexy tension? Or some, I don't know.
I kind of got that vibe a little bit.
Because we know.
I think like probably Obi-Wan infuses sexual tension in everything he does.
In everything.
Oh, just because hello there.
Because he has an immaculate beard and he's Ewan McGregor, so it's always I agree with Mo on this one.
I think that's
Asajj
that was
is
Obi-Wan's
in Quinlan Vos. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Quinlan. Yeah, you're right.
She's with Quinlan Vos and he's with Satine always. So I think it was just a miscommunication. They just got it was read wrong because he's just suave, He is. Come on.
I mean,
yeah, he is.
There's no denying.
I agree.
It's, up to this day, I still question Padme's choice of
decision-making choices.
Yes.
It's like,
I agree.
get me
I
I
agree.
mean,
completely.
I get it. She was probably looking more for like a fuck boy. You know, she's like busy running a planet. You just need somebody that's like
Available.
available. I feel like maybe Obi-Wan would have been like, you know, it's like I don't want to have too many conversations with you.
Exactly. He's like, I'm tired from work. Just give me a beer. I'm tired from work. And you know, and it's also a thing where, you know, he's still pining over Satine, and I don't think
I don't think he ever got over that.
Padme.
Yeah.
I don't think Padme would have been comfortable being like the other woman in his mind. You know, she's like, I'm gonna be number one. I am gonna be number one. If I'm not number one, there's no number two. And then she's like, and she saw Anakin, and she's like, come on, I got this. Got him eating out of the palm of my hand. Come on.
Because he
didn't
was a
work out for
child.
anybody.
Child. Weird. Still creeps me out. Sorry.
Hey,
It still
no,
does.
she didn't. Okay, I got to defend this for the first time.
Oh God, here we go.
She did disappear for 10 years. She wasn't grooming him. She did go away. And she was out doing her senator thing. And then he comes back, and then he's a grown up, and then it's okay. Yeah. If she had been
the
grooming
exact same
him,
age,
then it would be creepy.
She was the exact same age, and he still acted like a child.
He acted like a
that is true. That is true.
It was just like a fuck boy. That's all it was. I mean,
it was weird.
There's no way Anakin like simulated her mentally. I can't see that.
No, I can't see that.
Well, in the Clone Wars, a little bit. Definitely not in the
Clone Wars, but not in the movies.
Not in the movies.
Maybe maybe we'll get Natalie Portman to come back and do a little flashback scene with Hayden.
Get some Jimmy Smits too in there.
Smits, come on, gotta get some Puerto Rico action in there.
I would be excited about that actually.
Whatever. He has to be. He has to
be.
Him and Jimmy Smits those are the
have to be.
Golden,
it has to happen.
Golden goose, you know, that's the golden geese, I guess. They're not in that. I mean, I'm still gonna love it, but I'm like, that's a missed opportunity if you don't put those two men there. Come on. And Kate Blanchett, cast her as a Satine, and have their
oh my God, Kate Blanchett
flashback for all the shipping. Yeah, that's one of the few fan casts.
Is that a rumor?
Not a rumor, it's a fan cast.
It's a fan cast
that I read on the Twitter, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy that one. I usually don't like fan casts, but that's a good one.
Yep.
She would. Oh yeah.
They can go full Moulin Rouge on that, you know. It's like.
Yep.
Wow.
We do have a lot of high hopes for the Obi-Wan show right now. You gotta like put our expectations.
Sorry, Deborah Shaw. There's no pressure.
No pressure. Mm-hmm.
It's not as if like both sides of the fandom aren't expecting this. Because see, that's the advantage though that the authors of the High Republic and shit have is that they are getting bashed by the part of the fandom that doesn't want anything new, but at least their bashing is kind of blind. They're not really invested in the stories and actually going out to read them, to criticize them because they want to enjoy them. So in a way, like, you know, the High Republic authors can just enjoy the people that want to enjoy those things, as opposed to like the people that are doing Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, because you're messing
Obi-Wan.
With characters that are already known and loved, and instead of trying to appreciate something new, because I really loved the treatment of Boba Fett on The Mandalorian. I did.
But at least there's one side of the fandom that will, you know, not be antagonistic towards something that they just didn't like. One side will, you know, whatever. I said I wasn't gonna get into it. Never mind. It's Monday. It's been a day. I'm sorry.
Well, no, just random question. Do you think that the geode rock is it still alive?
It's a rock. Of course, it's alive. Yeah. I mean, spoiler alert: he survived into the dark.
But I don't know how sentient rocks lifespan works.
What is their lifespan?
Are they?
I'm gonna assume thousands of years. I mean, didn't you watch the Never-Ending Story? There was a talking rock in that movie. No one complained.
Yeah, there was.
No.
At least this rock doesn't talk.
It just thinks.
It just is.
We don't know.
It communicates somehow, apparently.
Allegedly, we never watched it do anything.
Allegedly, okay.
Its friends its friends claim that it does things. We don't actually get to see anything, which is what's genius about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to see just Geode randomly like on a planet and somebody be like, "Holy crap, it's Geode."
Apparently, according to the book and his crew, I mean his friends on the ship, he's a party animal. Apparently, that it's hearsay.
Hearsay.
I have no idea what to say about that.
That's
Trust
rough.
me. You have to trust me. You have to read it. You have to read the book.
Oh, okay, well, we will read the book, but we need to go back to the Nightsisters, guys.
Nightsisters.
They're awesome.
Nightsisters. They
are not rocks.
They're not,
but they do rock.
They do.
There is a line that I actually really love when Dooku first goes to Mother Talzin to get his new apprentice, which, by the way, he got so duped into. I think it's hilarious that he was conned so easily by Mother Talzin. I just love that. It's like Dooku is one of the most arrogant assholes in the entire Clone Wars ever, and it's like, dude, you got conned in like a second. I thought that was great. But then when she actually offers like to get one of the male species, she says to him, "Oh, let's get you a male since you were unable to tame the female."
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I like that he ignored it. He was like, "Oh, what?"
yeah, he's like, no, yes, get me a male. I will not admit to not being able to tame anything. Like, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yep.
Mother Talzin has some character. I don't know why we haven't seen her again. She's like, in a way, she's like a Obi-Wan and Yoda kind of combined into one, where she's has the wisdom and power of Yoda, but then the snarky comebacks of Obi-Wan, but obviously in a Transylvania Dracula veneer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Her robes move, man.
It does move. It's
like, dope. Can you imagine that in live action? It's just like it's one of the things that I did like about
like filmed underwater or something, and
right. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Like the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, horrible, terrible fucking movie. It's so bad. Don't watch it, please. I watched it for everybody. Don't watch it. But the one good thing that it does is like Javier Bardem's ghost character. Like he looks, even when he's like when he's not underwater, like his clothes and his hair moves like he's underwater, which is an awesome effect. And then that's exactly how I would imagine like Mother Talzin in live action. It's just like everything's wet, moving like if it were underwater but dry.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
make
it
happen, Disney. Live action.
Make it live action Mother Talzin.
The Acolyte. Maybe.
Hey, I'm sure they're probably alive.
And the Acolyte, they have to be around. I mean,
Mother Talzin seems like she is immortal.
Or maybe an old Daka on like her prime.
Old Doc, because referred to as the oldest and wisest of us, and she's the only one that's actually able to do the resurrection spell. Like Mother Talzin can't do that one spell. It's old Daka.
I didn't understood if like she can't do it or if it was that because they were the oldest and wisest, their power.
Like it's that one person in the clan that's able to do it, or maybe it takes the last of their life force as they do it. Maybe
that's like some Darth Plagueis shit. He's like, oh, you have to take the knowledge of the master.
Because she was living in this like darkened cave that was hidden and like protected by magic, like all by herself. So I don't know.
Kind of like from Game of Thrones, the three-eyed raven stuck to the tree and shit.
Maybe, like the one that becomes the oldest of the clan has to like connect to the force somehow, and she's in the cave to connect to the earth, and that becomes her role. And then the next in line becomes the actual leader, but then you have the actual craft leader. It could have been that way,
I think,
which is so cool, and I wish it could have been explored more. Yeah,
I know, right? And then like that whole path. It's like Mother Talzin is like both like compassionate and terrifying at the same time. It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can totally see like, being embraced by Mother Taliesin at the same time being like
Stabbed in the back.
no, not
I
stabbed.
don't know. I think she stabs in the front. She's
Yeah,
gonna let
don't
you know.
I don't
She's
think,
gonna let you know who did.
or we'll use like a voodoo thing down the road, and you'll suffer, and you'll know it was Mother Taliesin. There's no.
Yeah, you are completely right. I am wrong. She would never stab in the back. She exactly needs you to know that it was her.
But
She's
yeah,
like
but
oh my god, I forgot her name in Game of Thrones.
Cersei?
No. The old. Oh my god.
The queen, the rose.
Yes.
So she was like, which one from Game of Thrones, Goose?
I forgot her name. Let me look it up real quick. Olenna Tyrell. Which she was just like, hey, I want you to know who
it was,
who killed your son.
Savor it.
I
know. Yep. Savor it. Yeah, Mother Taliesin would be like that completely. Yes, agreed.
Too bad the actress, I forgot her name, but too bad she passed away, because she would have been a good actress to play either Mother Taliesin or I forget.
Or Old Daka would have been perfection, honestly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alas, it was not meant to be.
Nope.
Yep.
Oh well. Hopefully they still make a live action Nightsisters arc or something.
I would really
Helen
enjoy it.
Mirren would be a good Mother Taliesin. I can see it now. Okay, now I'm gonna do the thing that I criticize everyone for doing, which is fan cast.
Fan casting.
Fan cast.
Not gonna fan cast. No,
you're
Sebastian
so tired.
Stan.
You're so tired. You started fan casting.
Exactly.
I'm glad they didn't do Sebastian Stan. Right. I'm glad that that was never a thing. I'm glad that.
No, they just need to perfect their de-aging shit or face replacement or whatever, and just do that with Mark Hamill's voice. And if Mark Hamill dies, retire the live action character. Just keep it in animation. If you want more Luke Skywalker stories, let's not mess with it. But anyway, I don't know if we wanted to have some closing thoughts, or what was everyone thinking now?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit, like the first title screen of that first episode is the swiftest path to destruction. Yep. The swiftest path to destruction is through vengeance. And I think it's really sad that they continue to push the vengeance thing on Asajj. Like, you would think, like, after everything that happened in the first 3 episodes, we would, get her to move past that. And I thought it was incredibly sad that, we end that original arc with everything, failing, her thinking for some reason that she needed Savage to defeat Dooku, like she couldn't do it on her own or with her sisters. Like, it was a failure. She didn't try again with her sisters. It was like this whole thing of doing it with Savage, and then obviously Savage gets betrayed by both of them, so he rebels, goes finds Darth Maul, and everything that happens, after that. But after that last arc, when she gets betrayed again, now by an apprentice that she had, she disappears for almost an entire season, and then you see her back again in season 4, coming back for Massacre. And it's incredibly sad that she actually, comes back home in this one episode, gets the baptism, finds herself with her sisters, and then they all get destroyed in 23 minutes. And I think it's incredibly sad that, when she finally realizes who she is, and when she finally wants to come home, she brings the darkness with her to her home planet, because they tracked her there, and that's when Duke was like, oh, she's over there, so just destroy all of them. And then on top of all of that, they use fire, because they give this tank that Grievous has the fire, so it's like the burning the witches. So it was kind of on the nose. I wish they would have I don't know,
pulled back a little bit
on that. Yeah, I guess so. Anybody else has the
I, you know, I
Comments?
think I think the symbolism, they didn't
Yeah.
like hit back on the symbolism. It was like, these are, we've labeled them witches.
Burn the
It's like
witches.
burn the witches. It's like, it's a whole, and it's interesting because the ones that burn it are the separatists. How
Mhm.
come?
Yeah.
How come the Republic didn't come in to stop the whole massacre of a civilization? Like,
Mhm.
just because they weren't part of the Republic, like it's almost like very. It puts into context that, you know, there's really not a good guy or bad guy. There's just whoever paints their own interest a little bit better,
Mhm.
like, has the upper ground. But
Mhm.
it's, the Republic never stepped in, never helped them. It was just like,
Well, I doubt they would have won because, as you said, I don't think the Night
They had been
Sisters were on.
exiled, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the whole, their dark side users, so the Jedi weren't gonna be like, oh, let's save some people that are on the dark side, because that we know that the Jedi were on their whole dogmatic blinders on with what is right and wrong, which led to their downfall. So it only makes sense, right? Why? Because this republic is what turned into the empire. So
Yeah.
it's only
Mhm.
natural that they would allow a genocide.
to happen.
Yep.
Just, yeah, and probably all the others they let happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is one example. Who knows how
There's an example,
other
yeah.
things happen in other planets? Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like, well, I love the whole dynamic of like Mother Talzin. I think it's like probably one of my favorite characters at, like, after rewatching this. And not because you not only does do they help like Asajj, but at the same time they help Oppress. Like Oppress
Mm-hmm.
comes back and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, like you came back home. I'm glad. Like, and it's like, now look for your own journey. Like, look for your brother. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like
She gives
this.
purpose to everyone that's lost a
Yeah,
little bit.
it's
Yeah.
this, the it's like a real shepherd. Like, I'm a shepherd and you're a lost lamb. I'll guide you to where you need to be to, so you can find yourself. It's never like, I mean, you can see they have their own ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
always, you can see that. But it's never, everybody has a choice. It's not like they're ever not given the choice
Mm-hmm.
to either, you know, Savage could easily be like, okay, I'm not gonna look for my brother. It's a big galaxy. I can do whatever I want.
Mhm.
And Asajj could have done the same. Like, I don't have to come back to Dathomir. Like, it's pretty much, it's a huge galaxy. I can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's this whole idea of like, going back to the mother. Like,
Mhm.
and what does that imply for the characters and their development?
Mhm.
So it's not going back as a baby where like you don't have the power to do anything, but it's going back for like that
Yeah, with a purpose.
with a purpose, or that idea
Mhm.
that this is your most trusted guide as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
was, and even though they call her mother, like, she still refers to everybody as a sister.
Yeah.
So
It's horizontal.
so it's almost like in it's like very humbling at the same time, because
Mhm.
like, even though I'm mother Sasha, you're still my sister. Like, it's
Mhm.
still a sisterhood. It's all part. It's like that
The
idea.
sisterhood of the traveling knight. Gotta work on it. Sorry. Yeah.
Close,
But no cigar.
not yet. But yeah, it's like it gives us that idea of like how, like, a leader doesn't have to be 100% authoritarian or 100% one way. Like, you can
Or
be
judgmental, or
yeah, you can bring you can meet everybody where they're at their journey
Mhm.
and still influence them for their own journey. Like
Mhm.
you don't see how Dooku is. Dooku believes he's above everybody else. You don't
Mhm.
see what Palpatine is like, which is like, oh, that's not good for me. Like, just take it out. That's it.
Mhm.
All right. And you don't see, and then you see the Jedi, which is like, oh, like we know about what's going on, but I guess we'll just stay away. We're not gonna intervene. But in all Mother Tusken's interactions, it's like there's a purpose. There's always
Mhm.
somebody's being either pushed into their own journey
Mhm.
or like being embraced for who they are, which is I think
Mhm.
it's like rare to see in leaders. So.
Mhm.
Yes. So I think that was a good last comment.
Poetic summation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Summation. Pinnacle.
Leaders need more empathy, more embracing, more being able to understand that people need their own paths as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something else that needs to be explored in Star Wars more, because we do have a lot of cults in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, lots of calls without like actually
Mhm.
going and addressing the issues inherent within and fixing the problems ultimately, because we just like ignore them. So
Yeah.
far, you know, the Jedi, we ignored all the problems. It's just like, oh no, but now they're good without actually having that reflection on why they were bad to begin with. Same thing with the Sith, and now with Mandalorian and the Children of the Watch. It's like, okay, and
Mhm.
obviously, maybe now with season 3, we'll see a little bit more of that, but it's just like cults without consequence. And it's just like, well, we need to
Yeah.
not only see what's negative about them, but address them.
And when you straight up indoctrinate, you're never going to get the level of loyalty and empathy that you need really for a group to survive, when you're just like straight up indoctrination and don't let people ask questions about why something is why it is, which is what happens in a lot of these cults, and that's why it doesn't work, and that's why Anakin turned, really. So
everybody ask questions. Keep yourself always asking.
But
open-minded,
not
willing to learn.
open-minded enough that your brain falls out.
Well,
Always gotta be careful.
yeah.
But it's better than completely close-minded. So
Extremes.
Extremes. That's a good one. So, do we
Balance.
think we're done for today?
Yes.
I think we're the triad.
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, everybody listening, thank you so much again to everybody that helped us surpass 100 subs. Keep listening, keep promoting, keep loving Star Wars and everything nerd that is out there, because it is great. And we are Triad of the Force. Follow us, like us, subscribe, leave some comments. We're going to do more Clone Wars arcs, Rebels arcs. Tell us what your favorites are, what you hate about us, what you like. Follow. And you can find us at YouTube, as always, Twitter at Triad of the Force, and everywhere where podcasts can be found. So I think this is good night, right? May the Force be with you.